At exactly 5 a.m. on September 6, 2025, 10 Ukrainian drones were only seconds away from reaching Europe's largest nuclear power plant. The mission was almost unthinkable. The plant was supposed to be untouchable, protected by some of the strongest defenses in the world. Russian forces guarding it had grown overconfident, believing no one would ever dare to strike such a dangerous target. But they were about to be proven wrong. This was not a missile attack or a large airstrike. It was a swarm of small drones, each weighing barely more than a bag of sugar and costing less than a smartphone. Yet their target was anything but small: the $50 million simulation and training center, the brain of the entire nuclear plant. Ukraine wasn't aiming to cause a disaster or start a meltdown. Instead, the plan was smarter, sharper, and far more dangerous for Russia's long-term control. The reason behind this target was simple but brilliant. Guiding the attack from miles away, a Ukrainian operator sat hunched over an old laptop in a hidden bunker. His signal was no ordinary broadcast. It shifted frequencies thousands of times every second, making it almost impossible for Russian jamming systems to track. On his map, the nuclear plant looked like a fortress, surrounded by overlapping shields of missiles, radars, and electronic warfare. On paper, the mission was impossible. But Ukraine's planners had found a way to turn that fortress into a trap. It carried the swarm hidden inside, gliding beneath the surface like a shadow where no radar could see it. At the same time, 2 Ukrainian missiles struck a nearby Russian rocket launcher, removing one of the biggest threats to the drones before the real mission even started. But that wasn't all. For weeks, a small Ukrainian special operations team had secretly lived inside the occupied town next to the plant. On this night, they moved quietly to disable the crude anti-drone nets guarding the facility, creating just enough of a gap for the swarm to pass. Finally, at 5 a.m., the underwater vehicle surfaced and released 10 small drones into the sky. The main show had begun. As soon as the drones lifted into the air, the plan revealed its clever twist. 2 of them rose higher than the rest, carrying dummy warheads and making themselves the most obvious targets. They were never meant to survive. They were bait, a distraction to pull Russian defenses into action. Meanwhile, the remaining drones dropped low, hugging the ground and hiding in the clutter of terrain. What made them truly dangerous, though, was the technology inside. Each was equipped with a tiny AI computer chip, no bigger than something used in a school robotics project, but powerful enough to outsmart billion-dollar defenses. These chips allowed the drones to hop between radio frequencies thousands of times every second, dodging Russian jamming attempts. Even without GPS, their onboard cameras matched the landscape below with preloaded maps, guiding them with precision. On radar, their small carbon fiber frames looked no different from a bird. In that moment, the Russians were hunting lions, while snakes had already slipped into their tent. The Russian defenses did not stay quiet for long. As the decoy drones appeared on radar, operators quickly fired two massive missiles worth millions of dollars to destroy them. From the Russian side, it looked like a success, 2 confirmed kills. But while they celebrated, the real swarm crept closer. Then the fight became brutal. Anti-air guns and a Russian attack helicopter opened fire, filling the sky with shrapnel and tracer rounds. One by one, the Ukrainian drones were cut down. 4 were shredded in seconds, then a 5th, then a 6th. For the operator watching from his bunker, the mission seemed to be collapsing before his eyes. But amid the chaos, one single drone managed to slip through. Protected by the destruction of its companions, it darted forward, weaving through the danger. Against impossible odds, the mission was now resting on just one survivor. The last drone became the embodiment of the entire mission. Its operator guided it with calm, steady hands, even as his heart raced. While Russian gunners searched frantically for a clear shot, the tiny machine flew an unpredictable path, darting into blind spots where the defenders couldn't risk firing near the reactors. Then came the boldest move of all. Instead of aiming at the outside walls, the drone turned toward a small, nearly invisible ventilation duct on the training center, AS 3rd floor. A target no bigger than a pizza box. At full speed, it threaded the opening and vanished inside. For the Russian commander, the drone's signal suddenly disappeared, and he believed the threat was gone. But in truth, the most dangerous weapon was already inside the building, racing through its narrow ducts toward the heart of the control systems. Inside the dark ventilation ducts, the drone navigated by memory, every turn and climb carefully studied long before the mission began. Its destination was not the walls or the roof, but the server racks and power systems that kept the training center alive. At exactly 5:03 and 43 seconds, the operator made one final adjustment and pushed forward. The silence that followed was more terrifying for the Russians than any explosion could have been. Their training center, the only one of its kind in the occupied region, was now useless. Experts later estimated it would take at least 18 months and more than $60 million to rebuild. Until then, Russia could not properly train or certify new operators for the reactors. In one carefully executed strike, Ukraine had shifted control of the plant's future without ever touching the reactors themselves. The message was clear. In modern warfare, victory doesn't always belong to the side with the biggest weapons or the most money. Sometimes it belongs to the side willing to take risks, think differently, and strike where it hurts the most. For the price of a used car, Ukraine had outsmarted one of the most heavily defended sites in the world. A $400 drone had achieved what billions of dollars in weapons could not.